Guys, I have some awful news.
Oh, shit!
Exactly. I was just handed a note from production. We're being canceled.
What? Excuse me?
Good, I'm glad.
Exactly.
I didn't write you that note. I'm production.
We are being replaced by the so insanely popular Steve Eccles podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard it.
Oh, fuck,
so
I've listened to it.
Amazing.
It's super good.
I cannot believe the content on the Steve Eccles podcast show.
Hey, where can we find that? Where can we find that at?
Who is that?
I mean, it's all over the internet, guys.
Oh, is it? I found it
all over the internet.
You're right. I found it on all the popular kids' social media outlets.
Hey, you know what? I just found it at getfucked.com, Steve Eccles.
For real. Fuck you, Steve Eccles. Oh. Exactly. Who is this guy? Fuck off, Steve Eccles.
Oh.
Not probably going to use that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Why?
Beef, look, some guy badmouthed us. It's one guy. Let it go. Let it go.
Fuck it.
Okay.
Let it go.
Let it go. It's going to be okay. But seriously, fuck you, Steve Eccles.
Oh.
You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
What's up, all you ladies and germs? Guess who it is? It's the most overrated. It's the most overrated podcast in the wrestling world. We are the reason that wrestlers and wrestling fans can't have nice things. We're the four horsemen of the wrestling world, and not the super talented wrestling group. We're
the
actually
four horsemen
the
of
doom
disappointment.
We're the four horsemen of just death, pestilence, war, and famine. We suck the life out of everything.
Oh, Beef and I are not
hi,
famine.
guys.
I was
It's
going
the
to say
Interruption
famine.
Show.
Hi, welcome
And,
back, Ransom.
Yeah, it's the Interruption Show. This is the P3 podcast, you stupid idiots. So, yeah, I'm Alec Ransom. I'm the guy who's working on his fourth chin and likes to berate everybody. How's everybody doing? That sounds great. We're going to go ahead and introduce the cohorts here. I would like to first introduce the man who speaks very, very eloquently, yet has nothing to say. And that would be the reigning, defending, undisputed inter-promotional flab champion of the world, Poot the Board.
I'm going to let you have this one, Advocate, because you just got back from a nice, relaxing vacation. So you're sad that you're back. I get it. We're disappointments. And so is Mordor. I get it. So, you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Move on.
All right, moving on. We're going to move on to the man who doesn't speak so eloquently and yet still has pretty much nothing to say, which would be the ever so disappointing Beef the Legend.
I'll have you know that I won my wife over with my eloquent speech. Thank you very much. I just think too fast. That's my problem. I think too fast.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really the... Okay, moving on. We got the guy who does frequently have a lot to say and does say it eloquently and
through a bunch of
usually is pretty pertinent. We're going to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Sponsor. That would be better.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom.
Welcome back, Ransom. Good to have you back. I hope. I don't know if you got to. I don't know if you got to listen to last week's episode, but I tried to invoke your spirit the best I could, and I hope you enjoyed that whenever I was introducing Beef last week.
I did. You really set off. You really set off a lot of the salt there, and I really felt like, if you were a little less handsome and a little more fat and had a lot more beers, I mean, you pretty much would be me. The way you were ripping on them, and I appreciate that.
I take that as a compliment.
Sweet.
That's high praise from the Rat King, man. I'll tell you what.
Is that what you appreciates about me?
What is it? Oh. Hey, so
Can
we're
confirm.
coming off of a very disappointing and at the same time very exciting week of wrestling. It's a very bipolar wrestling week that we seem to be coming off of. And I didn't catch any of it because I was hanging out with the mouse. So I didn't really give two shits about wrestling last week, so I have no idea what happened. So I'm going to be a great contributor to this show. Freaking-tastic.
Like Deadmau 5? Were you hanging out with Deadmau 5 at a club?
No, dummy. I was hanging out with the real mouse.
Was there a moose loose in the hoose?
There's a noose in the noose.
Did you see that goddamn Michael Eisner?
Yeah, Walt and I were hanging out.
Hey, what's this out here about you guys not wanting to wear your purity rings?
Oh my.
Rings stay on. You don't
Did you wait? Hold on.
fucking
Okay,
talk to me that way.
Poot, did you
What?
see the last episode of that?
Oh, the most recent one?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. It was
Yes.
it was very funny. And apparently that episode got
Wait, where's South Park? Do I own that yet? Not yet, sir.
Not yet, sir. That episode actually got banned in China.
It did, and that was the name of the episode, Banned in China.
Yeah. I love it.
You know what? Speaking of getting sponsored or banned, why don't we thank some sponsors here real quick?
Hey, I want
And-
to try it out real quick. All right. So
All
give
right.
me a shot. Give me a fair shake at this.
All right, go
man.
ahead. Yeah, do it.
We're gonna try and turn over a new leaf and really do it well. So I want to thank the sponsor that I know the most about, and that would be our very own Tiger Bomb Tom, the casual gaming dadzilla. He does the retro games, he does the current games, he does a lot of fun games, and reminds me about the fun that I had in my childhood before I grew up and hated everything.
Yes.
So
adulthood.
thank you for bringing me back to the nostalgias of when I was actually happy.
You're quite welcome, sir.
Very much appreciate that.
And
Also, oh yeah, go ahead.
as we were mentioning before, last week we were waiting on it. Now it's official. They're up there. So I want to give a big shout out to Gould Gaming because we have Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast t-shirts available in my section of the Gould Gaming shop.
Yes.
Buy them, and shit all over them for all we care. As long as you buy them, I don't care what you do with them. Buy them,
Yep.
burn them, use them as napkins. Who cares?
Jizz
Freaking get
rags,
them.
do that too.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, we took a very dark turn there. Also, like to thank
Says you.
Sean
Tischler.
Yeah, that's it. Those are words.
Great execution.
Sean Tischler.
Great execution. You're doing great.
He does a great thing with some stuff in wrestling, and we're gonna be going to IC Clearfield W International Airport this Saturday.
We have a regional airport.
The idiots of this show are going to be front and center for some wrestling, and probably wouldn't be too far out of the spectrum to say I may or may not be speaking like Jim Cornette all night.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, boy.
Motherfuckers. So Sean actually sent me a message before we started recording the podcast.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah?
So along with the card that's been announced, which it's going to be a good one, there is
Yes.
a 10th anniversary battle royal.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
So there's going to be a nice battle royal there. Again, tickets are still available. It's this coming Saturday, October 12th. 2019, if you're listening in the future. By the way, future yous, I'm sorry you're so disappointed and sad at us. But tickets are still available. Make sure that you go to Clearfield. Was it Clearfield Wrestling? IWC Clearfield.com.
Yeah, if you need to check out the Facebook page, if you search on Facebook for IWC Clearfield X, you'll find the event there, and you can get tickets that way as well.
IWCWrestling.com and Facebook.com/IWC Wrestling.
There you
Follow
go.
them
And
on
you
Twitter.
Do not. I was
At
gonna say you
IW
do not need to. I'm sorry, Pooh. You do not need to pre-order tickets. You can show up for general admission. Obviously, that would be first
General
come, first
admission?
serve. So if you want the good seats, make sure you prepay with Sean or on the website. Guaranteed ringside. Otherwise, show up, stand in line, and get to see some wrestling.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna be an
I'm
absolute blast. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it quite a bit because they've had in the past their first show when I picked up our tickets from Mr. Tischler. I was yik-yakking at him, and he told me the very first show that they had in Clearfield 10 years ago, Johnny Gargano was on that card. So,
Yep.
Nice.
I mean, so you never know who you're going to see at
Might see
IWC
future
Clearfield.
stars in the business, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. And,
That's right.
seeing local favorites, I know Beef and I are super excited to see Casanova Cato and Seabass.
Seabass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man. Seabass.
And-
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
And I'm personally excited to see Facade. I know he's taking on Jackson Argos, I believe, for the title.
Yep.
Yes.
and I've met Facade. He was a client of mine, and I'm excited to. Hopefully
you can interview him then.
I hope so.
Oh,
that'd be nice.
That'd be super cool. Get some interviews there. Now, fellas, as Ransom said earlier, we do have a lot of disappointing shit to talk about. Where would you dum-dums like to start?
Well, it was a historic week. Let's start by being positive, saying that it was a historic week because for the first time in fucking
20 years
a
or
while,
better?
Yeah, there was competition, and it felt like wrestling was big and exciting again. At least until Friday night.
For a brief moment.
At like 10:55, but I mean, or 9:55. But until then, man, what a ride!
Well, let's just start off with Wednesday night. We had AEW's TV debut on TNT. We had NXT for a full 2 hours on USA, no longer split between USA and the network, as they were finishing up a show on USA. They had to just wait till that got out of the way. So, what any negative points that anybody wants to bring up from Wednesday night?
Honestly, the only thing that I want to say, broad general, from the two, comparing the two shows right now, and this is just, I understand AEW was in a larger arena. They still have a lot of polishing work to do with their cameras.
Got a lot of growing to do.
And production, but that's growing pains. You know what I mean? Like, that's expected to happen. It did not, while I was watching it, and I said this before, when we talked about some of their pay-per-views, it did not feel like I was watching WCW or ECW or something. It felt like I was watching a big-time WWE style product. The like quality of the picture, the sound. They could do a little bit better making sure that their production staff is on top of like making sure McAfee, get out of here. Stupid McAfee on my computer. It's trying to swing its hammer.
I thought he was talking about Pat McAfee at first.
No,
I'm
not
like,
Pat
what?
McAfee. No. But
Pat
no,
from
like
Plum.
it was the thing they need. Their production staff needs to watch like where they put like what names they have up, when they need to get the music up in the mix, stuff like that,
and hit the cues,
and hit their cues.
Hit the cues.
But other than
but here's
that,
the thing:
I'm
like
okay. 1 second. Other than that, I still, and maybe it's because the stars are more established. I'm more like emotionally invested in them. Personally, NXT knocked it out of the fucking park. Just knocked it out of the park. Like I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Like we were just talking about it before we started recording. NXT I think had a better overall wrestling, but AEW felt like it was the bigger show. Just the for lack of better terms, the pomp and circumstance of it, but just it came off like a bigger feel. The one thing and this is still going to be kind of along with the growing pains is the announce team on AEW. Like, I love the fact that they have Tony Schiavone on there. Tony Schiavone is great. Excalibur is great. I'm sorry, and this is probably somebody that's listening is going to be like, "You're a stupid motherfucker." Jim Ross is not what he used to be. He is not slobber knocker, from Attitude Era Jim Ross. He seems like he's just flat and disinterested, and I don't know, like. I just
Tom, I love you.
They need to do. Tom. Well, no, I'm serious. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. JR is still like he's still one of the greatest of all time. Like when you talk about like your Mount Rushmore of wrestling announcers, JR would be on there. But that's like saying like, okay, that would be the same thing like saying like Hulk Hogan is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling or whatever, but he can't get in the ring and do what he used to do back then, which even still by comparison wasn't a whole lot, but I digress. Like, you know what I mean? They need to find that better groove with the announce team. And I hope they can do it sooner rather than later, because that's the thing. When you're on TV, you have to have those announcers be able to draw you in. And I'm going to touch on that when we talk about Raw as well too. But
how did Schiavone do? I didn't get a chance to watch, but I was very excited to hear that he was back doing wrestling announcing.
He did really well.
I always liked Tony Schiavone in WCW. I always did.
I'm sorry. I keep trying to. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He did good, and he also did really good on that the show that they had on the night before, like kind of
Dark.
previewing the Dynamite stuff. He hosted that. He sounds as great as ever.
Well, Tony,
Does it sound like he's missed a beat at all, or is he pretty much
Not
right
at
on?
all. Zero. He
Nice.
walked right back into it.
the problem
Nice.
with Shivani and Excalibur, they were doing as good as they can, but honestly, like you said, they were stumbling over JR.
They're towing a 300-pound lead weight behind them. I loved AEW, so it's no secret to anybody listening that I'm an AEW mark. I love it. I love it. I love it. Everything they put out, I've adored. So of course I'm going to mark out for the initial show. But realistically, and you guys are gaining beef coins all over the place. JR, I've been preaching this since All Out, probably before that. JR isn't what he used to be. He's still a great mind, don't get me wrong. I want him there as part of creative, but you're 100% right. Excalibur and Shivani can do the best job in the world, but they're still picking up the slack for JR. I was hoping that maybe it was just JR being in a studio with New Japan and having some, tough to pronounce names. So I was like, okay, maybe that's, benefit of the doubt, but he ain't the same, man. He ain't the same. But yeah, I mean, Shivani, when he opened up AEW and it felt, and I want to make a pronounced statement here. It didn't feel like WCW, but it felt like WCW, if that makes any sense. I felt like I was sitting down watching a big production, and hearing Tony Schiavone's voice just lulled me right back into my childhood, man. So
I always thought that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, I was just going to say that I thought that they were both incredible shows. I thought that Nyla Rose and Riho was really, really, really good.
Ooh.
And I think they did a really good job of putting Riho over. Interesting to see what happens with Nyla Rose now. And I mean, honestly, and this has kind of been my opinion the whole time, and this is kind of what I said last week, and I think it's kind of shown in the ratings thus far, is that AEW seems like a bigger show because it is the bigger show. You're going to get more eyes on the bigger shows because it's got the bigger production value. It's got the bigger audience. It just feels bigger. Which again, exactly. For casual eyes, you're going to get a lot of casual eyes that way. But yeah, talent-wise and wrestling-wise, I think NXT was a better show. But at the end of the day, we all won on Wednesday night because we have two phenomenal cards, and we got more phenomenal cards coming up this week. I mean, I don't even want to get into it, but I mean, fucking Kushida versus Walter. You got the tag team tournament starting on AEW. Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc.
Cruiserweight
man.
on NXT.
Oh yeah, the cruiserweight title match. Yeah, I mean, I
actually watch
I'm so
NXT
in on Wednesday nights.
But before you get to your point, Ransom, I'm sorry. I wanted to say one quick thing about Nyla Rose. We brought it up last week about how AEW didn't push the fact of her being a trans athlete or anything like that. And I actually just finally went back and watched the AEW preview before Dynamite, that happened last Tuesday or whatever. I was watching it today, and when they were kind of going through talking about the build up for her and Riho's match, she actually brought it up herself, which I thought was really cool because they did it. She mentioned it, but it was just almost in just a matter of fact, casual conversation. She's like, I know Riho's been fighting in the ring since she was 8 or 9. She's like, I've been fighting all my life. I've been fighting poverty. I've been fighting this. She's like, because she's like, I'm Native American. I'm trans. I'm blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, she mentioned it. Okay, cool. But I like how the fact that she mentioned it, she acknowledged it, but it wasn't a point of thing that they stuck or hung on. So, and it's not something that's been brought into any sort of storyline or anything like that by AEW creative yet. So good on them for doing that. I just thought that was a really neat little thing that she had acknowledged it in that preview show. But go ahead, Ransom, with what you were going to ask, if we didn't already. If we didn't make you forget by now.
Well, no, it's a little bit of a call back to what we talked about earlier because we kind of moved on to matches. But just to harken back to the whole JR thing, for me, JR's best work will always be what he did with the King. And I know, Beef, is not the biggest fan anymore of, or I don't know if he was ever a big fan of Jerry Lawler on commentary, but when it was just those two, I thought those two together were the best commentary team. And I feel like once they got broken up, they played off each other so well that, it's kind of like it's kind of like a dynamic duo. When you break them up, they're going to flounder on their own. Yep. I don't know if that's really the case or not, but for me, they were always the best announced team together. And then to move on, I just had a question about AEW. I think we covered it before, but I've probably forgotten. So we have an AEW champion. We have an AEW women's champion. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They're having a tag title or a tag tournament. Is that for the AEW Tag Team Championship?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And then is there going to be a mid-card belt, like an Intercontinental title-ish?
I don't think it's been announced yet.
I think
yes, but it hasn't been announced yet.
What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll do it? Sorry, Ransom. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask if we thought that they were going to have like a mid-tier title, like an Intercontinental or a U.S. title. Obviously, call it something different, but I didn't know if that was in the works yet or not.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did a U.S. belt.
And actually call it the AEW United States
Championship. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, because that feels a little more intimate to me.
I
since
think
WWE already has a United States champion, do you think, since nobody right now has one, do you think they'd do it like a television champion?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think they would call it a TV title, because Ring of Honor has a television championship, and I don't know who else does, but
TV titles always felt cheap, though.
They did. You're right.
They always felt cheap.
But this is the chance for them to maybe build up the reputation for a TV title back. I think that they're probably going to bring back a hardcore title as well, because you don't have guys like Janela, Moxley, Allen, and Havoc on the. You don't have Luchasaurus. You don't have those guys on staff without having even Penta to an extreme, to an extent rather. You don't have those guys on the card and say, you know what? And I'm not saying that it's something I want to see every week, and I definitely don't want it to be like some sort of 24/7 shenanigan title.
No.
I want it to be like a deathmatch title, but I don't want death matches. Okay, I want it to be something that you see every so often. But
I got something breaking real quick. Sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. You know how we were talking about the AEW Dark? Mm-hmm. It's gonna be airing for free on YouTube. So I think now that's where it's on. It's on the YouTube channel for them. Sorry, I just had to get that out there because I just got it sent to me. So
hey, since we're talking about titles real quick, I just have a question. Was when back in the WCW days, was the WCW television title the equivalent of the European title? Was it like the lower?
Yes.
I would say so, because you had US and TV title in WCW.
So the US title was kind of like their Intercontinental title, and their TV title was like their European title. Is that how that works?
Exactly. Yep.
I guess, yeah.
Sorry, this has nothing to do with what happened last week. It's my own morbid curiosity.
No, it's okay.
All good.
But
I was gonna say good points. We talked about what we didn't like Wednesday night. Good points. Both shows, solid cards and everything like that. All the matches on AEW, I feel were well paced and everything like that. It flowed very well. The debut of SmackDown on Fox was, I thought, very, very well done up until the very end.
Point.
We're gonna get there, but I gotta say real quick, since we were talking about announcers, and this ties in, Corey Graves and Michael Cole. I think, honestly, since you were just mentioning a dynamic duo, Ransom, you were mentioning the dynamic duo of JR and the King. Honestly, I see a lot of that same dynamic duo in Cole and Graves, because Graves can play the heel color commentator or whatever off of Cole's play-by-play very well. And I gotta say, honestly, the announce team on Raw, man, it's I don't care for the King being back on there. With Vic Joseph is fine, but for some reason, like Raw seems like I have to struggle to listen to the commentators. Where like Michael Cole has that resounding
Oh, that's a great point.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's an awesome way to put it, man. You are 100% on point because Michael Cole and Corey Graves are in your face the whole night.
Now they're not like Mauro Ranallo where he's like jumping out of his seat, but
which is good too.
Yeah, so they're the nice happy medium. But the Raw announced team, I feel like I don't know, they definitely suffered since Fox snagged up Michael Cole and Corey Graves.
Dio Madden needs a personality.
Who the hell is he? Who the hell is Dio Madden?
So he is a former NFL star, and he has worked in the Performance Center.
Okay.
I like Dio, and I think that Vic Joseph is very clear that he is dedicated to his craft. I kind of question that with Dio Madden a little bit. I feel like that Dio Madden needs to hit a pocket, but here's the thing. You got to remember that the guy who's overseeing the Raw team is Paul Heyman. If there's a guy who can morph two young guys and give them voices of their own, it's going to be fucking Paul Heyman.
Well, in any case, I'm a little upset that they relegated Renee Young to some I think it's a pre-show or something with Booker T, which I think is bullshit because she was awesome. I think she was really good on commentary, and I think they should have kept. I think they should have kept
really
her on
growing.
Raw.
Yep, I mean, she was dynamite. Part of me, so Fox is Fox. If you watch NCAA on Fox, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's no female presence in the booth. They're always on the sideline.
Well, they had it.
Fox,
never mind. I was gonna say Aaron Andrews backstage, but that's backstage still.
That's exactly the sideline.
Yeah.
And I mean, Aaron Andrews is a great jumping point because no matter how big the personality you are, Fox is a good old boys thing, man. Like they know that they have to kind of walk the line a little bit, and that a lot of the demographic is not going to be receptive to Renee. So yeah, why not keep her on Raw? Why not move her to NXT and maybe shuffle things with Beth Phoenix? I wonder, and this is just me throwing things out there, how much of this is because of Jon Moxley?
I really think that I think that's kind of I don't think that matters, honestly. I really don't. I think it's because of who wanted what. I don't think Fox wanted Renee. You know what I mean? I think they were just like, no, we want Cole and Graves, and that's what we want. And then whatever powers that be didn't, whenever they changed the Monday night lineup, they were like, okay, well, sorry, Renee, you still have a job. Like, you know what I mean? I think it was
that was Heyman's call. Heyman said, I want Vic and I want Dio, and then Vince said, well, you're getting the King too.
Vic and, that's the thing. The Monday night commentary team is, to me, I'm just like, it sounds Bush League. I'm sorry.
It does.
I could go the rest of my life without hearing from the King every 3 seconds.
Oh my God.
It drives
him
up a wall.
He tried to make some jokes about stuff. I forget. I can't remember. There was one joke in particular, and I think I even messaged you guys about it. I was like,
yeah, it was about the armed services or something, right?
I you know what? I don't remember. It was. It might have been something about Lacey Evans.
No, it was about Lacey Evans, about how something more people on her own side shooting at her than the other side.
Yeah. Oh no, about how Lacey Evans was a Marine or whatever, and he's like, I hear she was getting it fired at from both sides, and I'm like, number one, poor taste, King. Fuck you. Number two, failure of a joke. Just rough. But anyways,
well, and if you believe the reports out there, King is just a placeholder. That he's holding space for Nigel. And I'll tell you what, if you add Nigel, because I love the UK commentary with Nigel and Vic, so if you add Nigel into that commentary booth, I think that you immediately enhance it 125%.
Agreed.
But what then on NXT? You have Mauro, who is awesome, Beth, who is coming along, but I mean, Mauro needs a straight guy, with him. Like he because unchecked, Mauro is nuts.
Oh my God. You're not
yes.
well. I mean, like, and that's the thing is that like you see that in working. Like during the Cruiserweight Classic, he had Daniel Bryan with him, and Daniel Bryan really was not a straight guy at a lot of the times. Like, it was just two wrestling nerds screaming on commentary. I'm never going to forget whenever the Brian Kendrick took on Kota Ibushi and he did the burning hammer to Kota. Like, Morrow was freaking out and Brian's just yelling, "Burning hammer, pin him, Brian!" Like, it was just like, it was chaos. And it was good chaos, but it's because it was Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo, and they know each other. Like Beef said, when you leave Mauro Ranallo to his own devices, he pulls out his own eyebrows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But getting back, segueing back to SmackDown. Again, great show, and I love the intro for it and everything like that. It was really well done. It definitely has that, I guess, for lack of better terms, it has that Fox feel. But I thought it was really well done. I liked the music and everything. I liked the show all the way up until the very end. And I know there's a ton of things that we can find wrong with this whole situation with Brock and Cain Velasquez or whatever the fuck his name is. But
this is the dumbest shit. Go on.
It is. And here's the number one reason why I'm going to tell you. Besides the fact of it not making sense and whatever, Kofi deserves better, all this crap, I'm going to give you something, and you guys can give me whatever else you got afterwards. But the number one thing that they did wrong was putting the focus on Cain at the very end, because instead of doing a stare down between him and Brock and putting the focus on what Michael Cole said right before the match, the most prestigious title in sports entertainment, that's what the WWE title is supposed to be. Instead of having a stare down in the ring and having, going off the air with your new champion holding up the title proudly in the air, and he's a legitimized champion because he's a badass and he just squashed Kofi in 5 seconds, you have him cowering away from fucking Cain Velasquez, and now you're putting the focus on Velasquez, who isn't even signed with WWE and isn't a fucking wrestler at all. Like, in WWE, just
to be fair.
No. Hold on. To be fair. Hold that thought. But it would have served them better if they had a stare down between Brock and Cain just in the ring, go off the air with, Brock just holding the title up in his face like, "I'm the fucking champ. What do you want to do?" Instead of Brock, who's supposed to be Billy Badass, now cowering away from this guy who the fuck. How many people knew who the fuck Cain Velasquez was? I didn't. Fuck him.
Here's the thing with Velasquez.
Can I? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he's the guy who beat Brock Lesnar for the heavyweight belt in UFC.
Yeah, 9 years ago. Fuck him.
But he's the only... Jesus Christ. He's the only
Randy
guy
Couture.
in a legit straight fight that took down Brock Lesnar, and that's kind of the mythos they're going for. Yeah, it's like the whole... curb stomp thing and everything, losing the universe of that. But like the fact that they reset the clock on him, and how fast did he beat Kofi Kingston in? Rip Kofi.
5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds. Like that, it's absurd. It's absurd. They had to do something. Who else is going to do it? They'd have to stick the Fiend on him.
So here's the thing.
What were you going to say?
I understand what Fox is going for. They want a big fight feel. They don't want entertainment. They want a fight feel. Hence why they brought in boxing champion Tyson Fury. Hence why they wanted Cain Velasquez. You're not wrong, Tom. I think you said it was 9 fucking years ago. Here's my thing with Cain Velasquez. He has been training and has been wrestling in AAA, and he's been doing a pretty good job. That being said, my problem with Cain Velasquez is twofold. Well, threefold, really. One, like you guys said, no one, he came out and everyone's like, who? And Michael Cole had to say on the announce team, this is the only man who beat Brock Lesnar. The old adage is, if you have to explain your joke, it's not funny.
Which is a credit to Michael Cole, so good on him for all the viewers at home. But for the 20,000 people in the arena, they're probably sitting there like, who the fuck is this schmuck?
Yeah.
But why was he out there with Rey Mysterio?
Yeah.
Except for the 5 people that were wearing the Affliction shirts. Apparently, Rey Mysterio and Cain Velasquez are very close. That's what I've read. I don't know how legit that is.
Right, but how does that tie into like him showing up?
Because Brock killed Rey Mysterio on Monday night, and Rey was supposed to face. and Dominic, yeah, and Ray was supposed to face Seth. So as a measure of revenge, Ray went out and got himself a hired gun.
Yep.
So my second problem with Cain Velasquez is this: like, you're immediately putting him in the WWE title like arena. Like, if you have Kane come out and ambush Brock during the match, costing Brock the title, I think that makes a lot of fucking more sense than immediately having a no-name guy that's out of UFC come over and get the spotlight. But my biggest problem with Cain Velasquez is his doughy body. Like, the dude looked like he forgot how to hit the gym at all. Say what you will about Lesnar. Lesnar gets blown up real quick and turns purple like 3 seconds into a match.
Oh.
But he still kind of looks like he's carved out of stone. Cain Velasquez looked like he was carved out of silly putty. It was pepperoni nipples. I mean,
whoa.
I just
let's not say things we can't take back here.
Cain Velasquez could come and like rip my head off and like shove it up my own ass, and that's okay.
You're dead now.
But here's the thing: like I said, to me, it is a huge discredit to the industry when you have somebody who is a big star from elsewhere come in and that just looks flabby and out of shape, man. Like, have some and I we don't know how escalated the timeline was. Fox could have been on the phone with him on Monday saying, "How quick can you get to LA?" So, but that being said, man, like if you have an inkling that something like this may happen, be in the gym, get yourself straight, make yourself look good, just in case.
All right.
Now, look, I just want to throw something out there real fast, just as kind of like not really a counter argument to beef, but like hey, they've done this before. Not with the whole flab body, but like with the whole somebody from another industry coming in and immediately getting into the title picture, Ronda Rousey. She wasn't a wrestler. She immediately came in out of nowhere and bam, into the women's title match.
Ronda Rousey has is more of a household name. Like, I mean, she people like I don't really follow UFC anymore, and I knew who Ronda Rousey was.
Well, that's true, but in the same token, you've got somebody who is not in the business, who hasn't wrestled for the promotion before, immediately coming in and is in the title picture. So, I mean, like, they've done it before. They did it with Ronda Rousey, and now potentially, who knows what their plan is with this dude, but they could be doing it with this guy as well. I would be more accepting of it if it was somebody coming in who had been in wrestling before. Like if an Adam Cole had showed up in NXT and was immediately in the title picture, fine, he is a wrestler. But then you've got these two guys who aren't wrestlers, they're UFC people. Regardless of household names, they're still somebody from a different business.
And I would just like to point something out. Beef's rant on Cain Velasquez, his look and everything, which honestly I agreed with. I was like, I don't remember Velasquez looking like he was made out of like sad clay. But what do I know?
Corbin.
But I was gonna say, who you sounded a lot like during that part of the rant, Beef?
Fucking Jim Cornette.
You sounded like Jim Corned Beef there.
Motherfucker!
You
Jim
did,
Corned
man.
Beef.
Jim Corned Beef over there.
Oh my
I mean,
God,
tell
that's
me
a
I'm
new
wrong,
shirt.
though.
That's
Like,
a new shirt.
but I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Like, you have. So for example, Poot, I'll use you because you are a fucking rock and roll icon. You know that you have a big show coming up that you could impress a lot of people. You're going to finely tune your chops. You're going to make sure that you have your look on point. You're not going to fuck about.
Your
like,
eyebrows are going to be on fleek.
Ooh.
Exactly. Poot on fleek. You're not going to just like show up and be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And like a wife beater and like a half-drank bottle of Old Milwaukee.
That is
Uh-huh.
one of my biggest fucking pet peeves about local bands. Like when we show up, we like my thing is always put on a fucking show. Like I have a like I'm like I know what shoes I'm wearing. I always wear a wrestling shirt. I have my vest I wear. I buy like colored contacts. I fucking do like goofy makeup. I yell and scream. I burp a lot.
Battle of the burps.
Like Like, and you know, we make sure that stuff is on point. There are so many fucking bands I go see where they look like they just got done mowing the fucking lawn. Like, that drives me up a goddamn wall. And then they complain.
And this is that.
Like, it's the same point. I get it. Like, yeah.
Exactly. This is that times, you know, a million or, you know, 5 million or however fucking much Cain Velasquez got paid to come in. So, like I said, I mean, I'm not shitting all over the idea. I think the execution was handled way poorly, but I get what Fox was going for. I don't think the WWE title should have been part of it. And if you believe, again, rumors are rumors, apparently they're squaring off at Crown Jewel, which is great because it's a show that I'm not going to watch and I could give 2 fucks about. So
exactly.
Yeah,
now,
I have been very vocal about how I don't care if you guys want to cover that. I will set up the recording to do it. I will not talk about that fucking show.
Nope.
Nope. I have no desire to watch it.
We will not be. Just to let our listeners know, we will not be covering Crown Jewel. Maybe we'll cover the results and we'll talk about the results. But I'm not watching it. I'm not giving it a lick of my time. And the only reason
we're not doing predictions on it.
No, we're definitely not doing predictions on it. And the only reason we even covered the other Saudi Arabia mess was just to see how much of a trash fire fucking Undertaker and Lesnar was going to be. And I would have to say, yeah. Who did I say?
Lesnar.
Oh yeah! Wow. See, Freudian sleep. Freudian slip.
Sleep.
Sorry. I know, right?
Freudian sleep.
All in favor
Is
for
that
sleep?
Is that when you get a sleep boner?
Yeah, that's a Freudian sleep. That's when you wake up and you're just like,
dream about your mother.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, I get a sleep.
What am I
it's when you get a
do
sleep boner thinking about Tom's mother.
Ew. That's gross. I feel sorry for you.
Hold on, wait.
But no.
Wait. What were you saying, Tom? I wanted to say something and I completely I got derailed by Freud and his boners.
No, I was saying the only reason we even covered anything that I even watched personally, any of the Saudi Arabia mess, was to see how much Goldberg and Undertaker's match was going to be a humongous trash fire, which that didn't disappoint.
Oh, they did not disappoint.
No. So that'll probably pretty much be the same thing. I don't think there's anything that's been announced yet that I could care that I want to see how much of a trash fire it's going to be at Crown Jewel. So now,
I remember.
Go ahead.
Speaking of like I'm concerned, and this, and I don't know, maybe it was just like because it was the premiere of SmackDown on Fox, but I'm real concerned that you're going to see insano, goofball, random ass people show up on SmackDown now because it's on Fox and Fox has so much pull. I really, really don't want to see freaking actors show up on SmackDown, and I'm real scared.
Oh, why'd you say it?
I'm just saying, Fox is a big freaking corporation, and they've got a lot of shows on their networks, and just to do like inter-promotional, cross-promotional, whatnot, I'm really scared that you're going to start to see actors show up, and not just like be like in the, you know what, I'm fine if like an actor from some Fox show is in the crowd and they show them and they show their name and they do a little wave and that's it. Fine. I think it's stupid, but fine, whatever. But if you have them start to get involved in WWE TV, that's when it's going to be like, okay, I'm out. I'm out of SmackDown. I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to see actors show up. Go home, David Arquette. Stop it.
Well, hey,
look,
David Arquette is back into wrestling legit. He's
busting his ass.
He's cutting his teeth on the indies, and from what I understand, like who was it? Jungle Boy in a Chris Van Fleet interview talked about how he's actually like out there busting his ass, cutting his teeth on the indies.
Oh yeah.
Like,
look, I don't want to get into a David Arquette discussion. I'm just saying I'm fearful that Fox is going to pull this kind of BS.
We've already seen
Vince
it.
is going to do it.
I feel you,
Vince is going to do it because he's like, well, it's either say no to Fox. We've already seen it.
R-Truth lost the 24/7 European Intercontinental World of the titles.
No, Carmelo lost it. Carmelo lost it to Marshmello.
Well, that too, but I'm talking about that Fox sportscaster on like an FSN one, an FS1 just randomly beat R-Truth. Like R-Truth fell over and the dude pinned him. Like it was the most least dramatic pin ever. To be fair,
it's kind of hard to keep. It's kind of hard to keep track of R-Truth's now 20th title reigns that he has with the European 7-11 48-7 championship. So
that's racist.
But let's get on to talking about shows that we're not going to watch, and that being Crown Jewel, a show that a lot of people watched and a lot of people were disappointed with was Hell in a Cell the other night.
I will lead on this.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead, Beef.
So here's the thing. You guys are talking about how, WWE isn't, how Crown Jewel's not worth your time. I am there on Raw. I am there on SmackDown. And a lot of me really feels like I might be there on Survivor Series. Like, WWE lost a lot of goodwill with me on Sunday night. Not just because of the Fiend stuff, but mostly because of the Fiend stuff. So at the onset, we have 4 matches that are announced. 3 that are announced prior to Friday. The Charlotte Bayley match only got added on Saturday, or actually on Friday night they announced it.
Right.
You have, I think they had a total of 8 or 9 matches total, and you only announced 4 the week of. And I get it; it's premiere week. You want to, plug Raw, plug SmackDown, promote that crap. I get it, but man, whew. You cannot have people give a shit about a card that they don't know about. And that is, the biggest consensus out there on the internet right now, is that the 4 matches that weren't announced, nobody gave 2 shits about, because clearly, if WWE didn't care enough about us to let us know about them, more than 3 hours ahead of time, why should we give a fuck?
Yep.
But my biggest problem, so I think that, first of all, let me be positive. Sasha and Becky absolutely tore the house down.
Good match.
They had a fucking amazing match. And Ransom, you can fuck off. This is not just me loving Sasha.
When are you not positive on Sasha, though? I mean, she could come down to the ring and eat a turd sandwich, and you'd be like, "Oh, that was the best."
I know, and I recognize that. But I'm telling you, if you're gonna go back and watch one match,
I'm not
start to finish. That's the match to watch, because they had an amazing Hell in a Cell match. That the level of brutality that I haven't seen matched since probably Undertaker McFoley. They went out there, they gave everything they had. There was a lot of creative, fun spots, and they knocked it out of the park. I didn't necessarily disagree, or I didn't necessarily agree with Becky winning, but it is whatever. I am a Sasha mark, and I recognize that. I have no problem with Becky winning. But the elephant in the room is the Fiend situation. For the last month, since it was announced, we have sat here on the show and said, he's not ready. We're not ready for it. It's too soon. But because we're in the situation that we're in, here's what needs to happen. And we were very clear cut to say, if this does not go down like this, it's going to be a problem. We are 4 guys who get paid to do fucking menial labor that has fucking zero input on any wrestling anywhere ever except for this podcast. And we sat down and said, if this does not go down this way, it's going to be a problem. Vince McMahon makes millions of dollars a year, surrounded by people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Surely to God, one of them thought to themselves, this is going to go sideways. I love the presentation of the match. I thought that the whole horror aspect thing was super cool. I fucking hated seeing 87 curb stomps in the match. I think that ruins that move immediately. But I get it. It's part of the whole Fiend culture. Okay, that's cool. I love the brutality Seth went on the Fiend. But to have the match end the way that it did, absolutely gutted the match, gutted the show. And Tom, I think we've talked about it before, the whole TKO versus DQ versus ref stoppage thing.
Yeah.
But whenever you have the standard set that you can throw somebody 20 feet off of the structure through an announce table, only to have them carted out, come back in, be chokeslammed through the cell, and still finish a decent match, when that is the standard, it's very hard to then be okay with the ref calling a match.
Oh, I agree with that, and Poot, if you want to make a point, I do have something to kind of piggyback off of that.
No, I was gonna say, why don't we round table this? Beef just said his piece. Why don't we go Tom, Ransom, me?
Okay. Here's my whole take on it. I agree with the presentation of the match. I love the red light. I love the look of this Hell in a Cell match. I can't ever recall seeing a Hell in a Cell match showcased this way with that horror aspect feel and everything like that. And I agree. I agree to an extent that that the Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell match is always kind of be the standard that everybody holds Hell in a Cell to, but we also have to remember that was back then. That was during the Attitude Era. It's not the Attitude Era anymore. So we're not going to get that all the time or even to that exact level anymore. But you can try to get as close as you can to it. But I don't agree with them stopping the match. Just from a storyline standpoint, they wrote themselves into a corner, and they shouldn't have done this. The creative shot themselves in the foot. There's only a couple things they could have done to help mitigate all the boos and everything, and the fans reacting negatively. Because I even heard Bully Ray saying, he's like, I usually hear people say, "Oh, I'm going to unsubscribe," and I say, "Yeah, you'll be back watching next week." He's like, "But I actually received a couple of screenshots. People showed me the unsubscribe, that they were actually unsubscribing from the network because of this." So, is it going to be enough to make a dent? No. Is it going to be enough that the board of directors are going to say, "Hey, what's going on here?" No. But there are a couple things that they could have done to help mitigate. What's the one thing that sticks out to your mind right before the ref stoppage? Is the ref looking at, saying to Seth, "You don't want to do this. It's not you." Whatever. That was stupid. What the ref should have done is say, "Seth, if you use the sledgehammer, I'm going to have to call the match." And that way it's more clear and concise what happened, because 90% of the people that bitched about the ending of this match, and even myself included for a brief moment, said, you can't have a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match. What's going on? It wasn't a DQ. It was a ref stoppage. That's the difference. So they should have had the ref say, Seth, if you're going to do this, I'm going to have to stop the match. Now, does it make it any more believable as far as the carnage wise and stuff like that you should have a stoppage in the match because of what Seth was about to do, hitting a sledgehammer onto a toolbox, onto a ladder that's on top of a chair? No, because Bray's not really going to feel that anyways, because Seth's going to pull his hit. The thing that actually was probably the most the most damaging of all that stuff was when he took the chair shot to the head while he was laying on the canvas, because there's no give. There's nowhere for his head to move. It's like the one chair concerto from back in the day. And that's actually the more dangerous spot of all of it. Anyways, and they should have, whenever they decided that, okay, we're going to have the ref stop the match, they should have announced it in the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, due to referee's discretion, he has put a stop to this match. That way, 20,000 people weren't sitting there going, what the fuck just happened? Why is he getting DQ'd? Because that was everybody's immediate perception. And honestly, he didn't have to stop the match. They didn't have to quote unquote officially stop the match because of what they've done back in the day with Undertaker and Mankind. They had the perfect setup there. You could have still had the Fiend go over with the title after he was laying there on the board, and Seth, for whatever reason, thought, "Oh wow, is he okay? He's a human being. Look what I did." And then boom, you got mandible clawed. I saw that one coming a mile away. I'm sorry, but that they could have mitigated it a little bit better by just announcing that and just saying this is what it was due to the referee's discretion. We have a stoppage in the match, and that's it. Yeah, you're still gonna have people pissed off, but at least it would have felt a little bit more clear and concise. Like, this is what it was. And with the follow-up with Seth not being on Raw, good on them, because one, they kept Seth from getting booed the fuck out of whatever arena they were at last night on Monday Night Raw, because he would have. And two, it helps sell the quote-unquote injuries that Seth sustained with the quote-unquote internal bleeding and coughing up the blood. It helps sell that better and makes Bray look like a fucking nightmare all the more. So that's my piece on it.
All right. That was really, really well put.
Thank you.
Ransom, do you have a take on this?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to be anywhere near as long as Tom's.
Sorry.
But no, you were detailed, buddy. That's good. I didn't watch it, but from what I've heard about it, when are there stoppages in Hell in the Cell matches? Like, I know
Never.
you said that, Tom, and I know you said that, Beef, but like, when are there stoppages in Hell in the Cell? When's there a disqualification or a ref stoppage? You've had people thrown all over the place, hit with barbed wire, thrown into tacks, thrown off the cage, thrown through the cage, thrown off the cage into a truck full of hay.
Right.
You've had, not even in Hell in a Cell matches, other matches, you've had people carted off in stretchers just to have their opponent go after them, knock them off the stretcher, and drag a lifeless corpse back to the ring. I mean, you had Mick Foley and The Rock wrestle through arenas, beating each other with different things in the arena. You had The Rock pummel Mick Foley. This wasn't even a Hell in a Cell match. You had The Rock pummel Mick Foley in the head with a chair repeatedly.
Ugh.
What? Why? How does that make any modicum of sense to have? It doesn't matter. Like, I hated the idea of The Fiend versus Seth Rollins. I hated that idea so soon. And we said it on this podcast repeatedly. It's too soon. It's not going to work. You can't have a clean finish where The Fiend goes over because it's too soon. You can't have a clean finish where Seth Rollins goes over because it's going to make The Fiend look weak. So how on earth do you have a finish in a Hell in the Cell? Because you've backed yourself into a corner where someone has to win. Well, someone doesn't have to win. You just have a stupid ref stoppage. Like, well, why?
Exactly.
I can understand the fans' disgust at this because, like Beef said, there should have been somebody on some sort of creative team in some office at some desk in some stupid swivel chair that went, what happens at the end though? Like what then? So you have a ref stoppage, then what? Did nobody think of this? Or did somebody, we're not there, but I have to believe, and maybe I'm giving a little bit too much credit, but I feel like credit where credit is due. Paul Levesque knows what he's doing. He's a smart dude. Say what you will about him booking himself or marrying the boss's daughter or, being the champion for freaking forever, all those days in Evolution. But the man knows the wrestling business. I have to believe, and I'm really hanging a lot here on Paul, but I have to believe that he said to Vince, I just don't think this is going to be good. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. And at the end of the day, I truly believe Vince went, this is going to be fantastic. And that's how it ended up that way. Whether it was one guy or a bunch of guys say to Vince, maybe, hey, boss, maybe we shouldn't be. And then there was Vince. Oh, goddamn, pal. This is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to the wrestling business. This single match is going to put AEW out of business. It was a big disappointment.
Oh, that's a perfect segue for Poot McMahon to take over now.
Yeah, what a disappointment.
All right, so first off, I'm going to lead with Seth Rollins tweeted today. He quote unquote broke his silence on Twitter, and it says He tweeted, "Survive and prevail is bigger than just what happens between the ropes. Question everything, even yourself, and fight your heart out every step of the way. Hashtag Seth Rollins is not cool." He then and then Bray Wyatt also broke it with a GIF of a dude going "oops" and then shrugging. So here's the thing. I said this on my little live stream video on Facebook after the event where I gave my take on this. And Ransom, I'm echoing exactly the point that you just made, where you believe that, like, Triple H knows the business and everything like that, but Vince doesn't. And like I said, let's give it time, because I think maybe for like mental and emotional preservation, because after it was done, I loved it in the moment. Like, not the way it ended. Like, the ref stoppage was stupid, but like everything that was going on that Tom talked about with like the lighting and the fact that the match in its entirety, all the way up till when he put on that mandible claw at the end outside the ring, or outside the cage on Rollins, and he's coughing and bleeding and all that stuff, like, it played out verbatim the horror movie, like, formula. It was exactly the way a horror movie was. And I'll bet you the thought was people are going to sympathize with Seth because he did all these things. He, like, broke his morals to beat the Fiend, whether by hook or by crook, and blah, 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 blah. And I did like when he put that mandible claw on him. My thought wasn't he has internal bleeding. My thought was he's latching down on that mandible claw so hard he's, like, punched through, like, tore the bottom of his mouth under his tongue, and he's just bleeding profusely. That was my thought. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. It's one of those things that this was incredibly tone deaf. It was really a cop-out. And this isn't a thing where people are going to like, it's a cop-out. Oh, bullshit. Oh, the match was still good, though. People are pissed. And, like, yep. and rightfully so, because they've done everything right with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend up until literally Sunday. They did everything right. And yeah, The Fiend still came out of it looking strong, but in a very cartoonish way, because like, and I think Beef mentioned this in our chat. He said, "Rip the stomp," and this is ruining finishing moves. Like, and we're seeing it happen more and more and more and more. And I'm not so much angry. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that they went this route. And there are two last things I want to say here. My thing that I did to preserve my, like I was saying before I went off into the weeds, my like temper my anger and like think, okay, and I've said it before, let's see the forest through the trees here. Like, yeah, okay, maybe at the 11th hour before this match, they decided this, and this was not the case, we found out later, but the 11th hour before this match, maybe they decided this was going to be the thing, and then The Fiend will either get a shot at Survivor Series and take it, which then people will just bitch because he should have gotten it a Hell in a Cell, or they're going to put it off and have The Fiend win at the Rumble and then ride that all the way to Mania. Have him be the lurking horror behind Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? Have him be, like, have Seth Rollins come out on victories, fight his way, really have great matches with great opponents and do this and do that. But in the back of his mind, he knows that the clock is ticking down and The Fiend is just waiting there, waiting to take that title at Mania. And they give it to him at Mania and have him have that belt ad infinitum until someone, probably Bork Laser, take it off him. And that's the thing, is that, like, when The Fiend gets the belt, who realistically is going to take it off him? The only way that I thought they could do this cartoonishly is have Bray Wyatt versus The Fiend. Find someone who looks like The Fiend, like somehow do the makeup and tattoos like the Fiend and have it be a fucking mirror match. Old school Bray Wyatt comes out like actual like Wyndham Rotunda as the old school Bray Wyatt and have someone else dressed as the Fiend and have it be a match. And then I was like, what the fuck am I thinking about? That's stupid and dumb.
The Demon.
But
to be honest, Poot, I think the Demon is the only one that makes any sense.
Well,
and,
the Demon is NXT, so I understand that's many moons down the road, so we have time to have that kind of come about again. But my point is, this decision was so Vince McMahon. There's no way we can even say, well, maybe this was a Paul Heyman call. Maybe this was this. This is 1,000% Vince McMahon. And apparently backstage, after it was done, when he heard the boos and the reactions, initially McMahon was kind of doing his McMahon thing where he's chortling and going, they'll get over it. And then very, very, very quickly, he realized, oh, I made the wrong call. Like, apparently it was like backstage, like, people were going, Vince, you fucked up. Like, they were like, you fucked up. This was the wrong call. This is bad. Do you hear this? And it was boos. We want to refund AEW, all this kind of stuff. And Vince went, oh,
restart
fuck.
The match.
Yeah, restart the match. Like, I thought they were going to have a restart. I really did. I thought there was going to be some rub where they're going to restart the match, Fiend takes it, and everyone goes home happy. But they didn't, and Vince apparently realized really quickly, oh, I fucked up. And my friend Todd, I talked to him today, he made a really good point. He said Vince McMahon, and Todd like never says this stuff. He kind of, God love you, Todd, if you're listening, he kind of looks at things very through kayfabe a little bit, which is, I think is good, but because we don't look at it that way anymore. But
we're jaded souls.
He said...
We are jaded.
We are. He said McMahon needs to be done. He's an 80-year-old, like, hysterical, senile man who needs to retire. And I was like, wow. If Todd's saying that, it's true.
So
like,
if I may kind of put a bow on this, and this is a wonderfully salient point that I read somewhere in my travels. Somebody commented and said this. You sit down at Creative the day of, and you said, okay, we need a way to, we need a way out to have Seth look good, to have The Fiend look good, to have Seth keep the title. The answer is super simple. Don't book the match. Don't put them in that position to begin with, because like we've been fucking saying for the last month, is that again, it had to go this way, and if it doesn't go this way, it's going to go all kinds of sideways. And now it's all kinds of sideways. So,
yeah.
So, look, I have two things I want to say about this. And I'm glad somebody brought it up before. And I wish I would have said it when I was talking earlier. But I know you guys say that you liked it and everything. But was that red lighting throughout the whole match?
Yes.
Yes.
And it was very cool.
I thought that was stupid. I do. I thought that was dumb. Like, why? Like, you've got two wrestlers in a ring. Why is it all of a sudden red now?
Kane's done it. Sin Cara's does it. I mean, like this.
Right.
Cara is so he can see.
Kane has done it in the past, where like when Kane first came out and he was throwing fireballs at people and holding his hand up and lightning would come down. It's like, Kane has all these mystical powers. No.
What do you think the Fiend is, man? The Fiend is
the Fiend's a wrestler.
Is built.
Shut up.
No,
shut up. I'm
Go
talking.
ahead.
Yeah, the Fiend is built as like this, like, ooh, spooky. Oh, it's, Bray Wyatt in a mask. We get it. But like, is every freaking match of his going to be red? Is it going to have this red hue for every freaking match? That's annoying, and I hate it, and I think it's stupid. I don't care what you think. You're entitled to your opinion. I think it's stupid, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. Second, like Poot said, afterwards, Vince McMahon had all these people going like, Vince, this was terrible. What a bad decision. You messed this up big time, blah, blah, blah. Did none of these people have the balls to speak up beforehand and go, we might want to rethink this. This sounds like a terrible idea that people aren't going to accept, especially now when we have AEW hot on our heels for competition. Do we really want to be pulling this bogus, hoity-toity crap do we want to really do? Is this what we really want to be doing? Especially with someone as hot as The Fiend, this is really what we want to do? Was there nobody who could get together and go to Vince as a group and say, look, Vince, we understand you're the boss, but we really think this is a bad idea. Can we pitch you something else?
It won't matter.
Was there nobody that did that, or did they do that and Vince was just, like you said,
Probably the latter.
dead set on it? Was like, hey, you know what? Nope, this is my idea. I'm an 80-year-old nutball, and this is what I want to have happen. Regardless of how stupid you all think it is, this is what I want, and what I want is what's going to happen.
Well, no, and it's
And
because...
forget for a minute, real quick, Ransom, you mentioned about AEW. Forget for a minute AEW. Remember that you have a brand new baby show on Fox that literally could hinge on this. Like, you really pissed off wrestling fans with the way that SmackDown ended. Okay. You really pissed off wrestling fans the way that Hell in a Cell ended. You want to keep eyes on Fox at all costs, because Fox at any point could say, we're going to shift you to FS1 on Saturdays at 10 o'clock, and Vince would have fucking boo to say about it.
Exactly. And
yeah.
And
is their contract like that?
I don't know.
I have a hard time believing that Vince would agree to giving Fox complete control over going like, well, if you don't like something we're doing, you can shift us onto a different network and shift us into a different time slot.
Fox has all the money in the goddamn universe. They can do whatever they want.
Three letters, XFL. Like, Vince said, okay, let's do the XFL, and we'll do it prime time. And then NBC was like, you know what? It's not working on prime time, so we're going to shift the spots. And that's where everything went wonky with it. So if Vince signed it once, I'm sure he did it twice, because money.
Well, let's not forget too that even after Hell in a Cell, a lot of people were pissed off. And last night's Monday Night Raw, honestly, if you didn't watch it, you didn't miss a whole lot. I have a couple bullet points, and I'm just going to go over them real quick, because really, for lack of better terms, last night's Raw was kind of a throwaway show, because you have the draft coming up on SmackDown on Friday night and then continuing next week, Monday, on Raw. So there's really no sense storyline-wise to start a bunch of shit last night on Raw or really get heavily invested into something. And that's why it was kind of But here's my bullet points from Raw, if anybody didn't watch. First bullet point, Rusev Lashley - why? Why are they going with this cuckold angle? I don't know. Fucking the only cool thing about it was that after the fact, instead of Rusev just staying there and looking all distraught and everything, and just that was it, you had Orton and Corbin staying there outside the ring laughing at him like a couple of bullies, and Rusev just fucking snapped on him and just went ham and beat the shit out of him and threw him all over the place and everything. It was great. That part was good. So I'm glad they had Rusev actually fucking get triggered for once instead of just stand there and taking it. Like, that
whole cuckold angle has Vince McMahon written all over it, though.
Oh yeah,
that really seems like a Vince McMahon thing.
Yeah,
you heard what, Beef?
And Bobby Lashley is terrible fucking acting. Like, he's worse than a porn actor. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. But
look, man, do you know how many years they spend studying that shit? A lot of throat training.
I just said 100%. Although, let's not forget that prior to the whole Lashley-Lana thing, this was happening with Mike and Maria Kanellis. I mean, you can say that it feels like Vince McMahon, but I remember a lot of crazy, stupid shit happening on ECW, on TNN. So
I think Paul's smart enough to realize it's not that time frame again. It's not that same thing isn't going to work now.
Maybe I feel like enough. so we put Paul Heyman on this pedestal and because he's worth it. But I'm telling you, man,
all right,
if Paul Heyman was a god among men, ECW would have beaten, and ECW had all the talent. ECW had great matches.
Listen,
I mean,
I'm sorry,
ECW failed for a big reason, and that's because, again, much like Mauro Ranallo, Paul Heyman left unchecked can be kind of crazy.
No, that's a whole other discussion for another time. But they failed for many other reasons, financially and stuff like that. It's just we'll get into that later. That's another topic for later. But Raw getting back to it, the next match that there was a last woman standing match between Natty and Lacey Evans, and I put my note was super Natty parentheses puke. Natty got the shit kicked out of her all match long, and then at the last at the 11th hour yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry. What the hell have they done, or what do you think? What does any fan realistically think they're going to do with Natty storyline wise? The wrong person went over. Fuck them. Next match, a good match between the Viking Raiders and Rude and Ziggler.
It was still a big
solid
sack of meh, though.
But I mean, that was honestly probably the best match of the night. I'm going to say was Viking Raiders and Rude and Ziggler.
Tom, you were just reinforcing my point, like reinforcing my belief that I'm wasting my time watching Raw. I know
SmackDown. That's why I'm giving you the fast bullet points on this. That was a good solid match. Now the Viking Raiders are going to have a tag team title opportunity. They're quote unquote at least in the hunt. A pointless.
I think that's officially for next week. By the way, Viking Raiders versus Rude and Ziggler. So
yeah, it is. A pointless Aleister Black match because he beat up the Bollywood brothers. Whatever. Boo. We need more from Aleister Black than just pick a fight. Yeah, exactly. We need more than that. Come on. A 6-man tag match. It was Lucha House Party versus the OC, and I have parentheses. How many arm drags can you fit into one match? Question mark.
But why though?
Exactly. I don't know. Fuck it. So I didn't give two shits about that one. A good women's tag match. It was nice to have them have Asuka speaking Japanese and stuff like that, and just whatever, they're pretty much making Asuka and Kairi Sane a heel team because she was using the green mist last night, and then also Sunday night. Apollo Crews and Ricochet, it felt like it should have been more because you have two amazing athletes in there, but I think it was maybe just a matter of time. Or again, they don't want to necessarily get too far invested into a storyline of something because one of these guys could be going to SmackDown for all we know. Who knows? And then they close out the show. And I want to also preface this by saying Bray Wyatt was there last night in the dark match after the end of Raw. So the post from whatever WWE social media saying the Bray sustained injuries is bullshit. I digress. Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury from the crap that can. What's that?
It's stupid and dumb.
It's stupid and dumb, and that's exactly what I put. Braun/Tyson - meh. That's it. That was Raw. If you blinked, you missed it. You missed two good tag team matches and a bunch of cuckold stuff, and that's about it.
I glossed over it on Hulu today. It took an hour and a half. Took me about 20 minutes.
Yep. Pretty much. So
what I'm saying, like WWE is all out of goodwill for me, man. Like now that I have NXT, that's actually a 2-hour show. Now that I have AEW, the only reason that I would even care about Raw or SmackDown is for what we're doing right now. If it were not for the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, I probably would not watch Raw, would not watch SmackDown, and may watch pay-per-views only if there's not a good football game opposite.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Regardless, I'll sit through the trash fires because, we just like you said, we do it for this anyways. And quite honestly,
Tom, we got it.
And for a while I didn't have cable, so I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store again. I feel like I got to and I want to watch it again, even if it is an absolute dumpster fire or a meh, whatever. But you know what? We've been yammering on for a little while. Why don't we see if anybody's got some stump the chumps for us? Beef-a-rooney.
We do. We have some Stump the Chumps from the usual Mr. Mid-Card Maniac himself. We had this for last week, but we held off since Ransom wasn't around, so we want to make sure it's a fair fight. So, here is the question.
Wait, a 4-on-1 fair fight.
Exactly.
Yeah. Giggity.
The 1994 Survivor Series featured a casket match between Taker and Yokozuna, in which Chuck Norris was a special enforcer. 4 wrestlers tried to interfere with varying degrees. The question is, which 2 provided a distraction, which one beat up the Taker, and which one got sidekicked in the face?
Wait, what?
Very specific question. 1994 Survivor Series casket match, which Undertaker lost, by the way, to Yokozuna. Which was, and this is pretty ironic that he mentioned this because I remember that being like a whole thing too. I think if the internet were around then, they would have shit all over this ending just like this one, because this is when everyone's like, oh man, Taker's going to beat Yoko, and then Yoko put him in the casket, and then they did the spill with him on the Titantron, coming back to life in the casket, and lightning hitting the casket, and all this other bullshit.
Oh, that was then. Okay.
Yeah, that was them. 4 wrestlers tried to interfere with varying degrees. 2 of which provided a distraction, 1 of which beat up Taker, and 1 got sidekicked in the face by Chuck Norris, I believe. Who were they? I know for a fact that Jarrett was in on it. I don't know what role he played. Jeff Jarrett. Okay. I think Kama Mustafa was in on it as well, but I'm not sure about that. Those are the only 2 that I know for certain. I
want to say Jarrett was the one that took the kick.
Makes sense.
I think I remember Jarrett getting kicked by Chuck Norris. I don't think... who was the other guy you said, B?
Kama Mustafa.
I don't think Kama was there. I'm fairly certain that King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow were involved.
Yes. Yep.
But I think I don't think they did anything. Because I don't know why, but I can remember like snippets of this match. And I think they're the ones that like came down and got like real scared of Chuck Norris and didn't do anything. I'm kind of blanking on the 4th guy.
I mean, that's why I was thinking Kama, because $1 Million Corporation. Because
and he was the supreme fighting machine.
Right, because Kama had a thing with Taker, and like he melted down the original urn and wore it as that necklace, which eventually the Godfather wore as his gold necklace. So that's I mean, I think you're right with Bam Bam and King Kong Bundy being there. Because wasn't it the 1994 SummerSlam where it was Taker versus Taker? The $1 Million Taker was there. And like I said, I know for a fact Jarrett was there, but I don't know who would have actually had the attack on Taker.
You know what? Honestly, I don't remember this, so I'm trusting your judgment. But I'm gonna say Jeff Jarrett took the kick. I'm gonna say Kama Mustafa actually got the hit in on Taker or whatever, and I'm gonna go with you guys and say Bam Bam and King Kong were the other 2.
I'll go with you guys on this.
I don't think it was Kama. I really don't. I don't think he was involved in that, but I can't.
Who else would it have been though? Mr. Fuji?
Yeah, it would have been Fuji.
Who did you say? What did you say, Beef? The $1 Million Corporation?
$1 Million Corporation. It wasn't IRS, I'll tell you that for certain.
No, it was. Nope. Now that you say that, it freaking was.
It was, really?
I'm willing to hedge a bet that IRS was the one that got into the ring and got the hit on Taker.
Okay.
I could really be wrong, but I'm going to hedge my bet on that now that you say $1 Million Corporation. I think it was IRS.
Are we all going to agree on IRS then?
I mean, Kama wasn't $1 Million Corporation for what it's worth, but
don't necessarily agree with me. I'm just saying I just don't remember Kama being there. I could be dead wrong though.
When Ransom has a feeling about these things because he watches this classic stuff a lot more than the rest of us does.
Yep.
So when Ransom has a feeling, I say we go with it.
What do you say there, champ of the podcast?
I'm going to go with Ransom. He has a good gut, and he's my advocate.
Ooh.
All right.
We're saying Jarrett ate the kick. King Kong and Bam Bam got the distraction, and IRS had some physical contact with Taker. Correct?
Let's do it.
All right. By the way, Midcard Maniac shirts are available to the public. He asked us to let him know that. So shirts are available to the public. They're up on Tiger.
Uppercut.
Tom's page at Casual Gaming Dad. Go check it out.
Well, no.
All right.
They are available. They are available on the Gould Gaming shop in Casual Gaming Dad's shop section. So,
fucking Ransom, you and I are going to Vegas, buddy. Distraction, Bam Bam Bigelow and King Kong Bundy. Assault, IRS, sidekick, Jeff Jarrett.
Wow.
You could not stump the chumps.
Bravo.
Nice.
Bravo.
Nice try, Maniac, but that's something.
That's
Yo.
Ransom's gut for you.
Yo,
That is.
It's growing by the day.
yo, P3 podcast in Vegas.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
If
That'd be
I didn't have
too
to
sweet.
save for a trip to Atlanta next year, I would.
I don't know if you can get that much stupidity on one flight.
Oh, I beg to
Oh, you
differ.
could.
So true.
You
Oh,
could.
dang it.
How do you think people get to Vegas?
Oh, all right.
All right, so let's do some hot tag trivia then, Ray.
Right?
You want to lead it off?
I sure will.
Oh, shoot.
So this question is for my favorite tag team partner, Alec Ransom.
Oh,
So you and I, my friend, we have a lot of very similar feelings for wrestling and just in general. So give me just I need to pull it back up here. Give me one moment.
oh God, yeah.
Come on, Beef. Don't be the worst.
Sorry, I had it pulled up and I closed
And then
it.
it went back down
So-
flaccidly.
Okay,
Oh.
so Ransom, you and I both seem to enjoy WWE theme songs ad nauseum. So as a fellow WWE thematic, I'm going to give you some lyrics, and I want you to tell me from what theme they come from. Are you ready?
Yikes. Okay.
Black-robed judges, bring the gavel down. Goodbye. Tell me all the ways that I went wrong. They'd lock us up forever, given half a chance. Out of sight, out of mind, same old dance. Keep the rebels down, kill their every sound. The more you try to silence me, the more I'm gaining ground.
Kelly.
Oh.
Would you like me to repeat that?
Eugene.
Yes.
No, chicken.
Can you
And I am 100%.
can you put a tone to it, or are you just gonna say it?
No, because I guarantee you that if I let me give it to you flat one more time, and then the next time I'll give you the same, like the phrasing.
All right.
Black-robed judges, bring the gavel down. Goodbye. Tell me all the ways that I went wrong. They'd lock us up forever, given half a chance. Out of sight, out of mind, same old dance. Keep the rebels down, kill their every sound. The more you try to silence me, the more I'm gaining ground.
All right. Can you give me any sort of hint on that without putting a tone to it?
I will give you the next line, and that's all I'm going to give you, because this one should give it to you.
All right.
I've had enough. I'll make them see.
End of days. I'll be your
I
end of
told
days.
you. Yes,
I'll
sir.
be your end of days.
Yes, sir.
Is it that one?
Who was
Yeah, that last
for?
line. That last line did it. That was. Hold on. Wait. First, that was the core, and then that was Wade
Yep.
Barrett.
Yep, and they kept trying to use that fucking the end of days lyric. Now fucking Corbin has it, so go figure.
Yep.
But yeah, man,
I liked that theme song whenever the core.
That was a
used it.
great
I understand
theme.
that the core got shat on because they were like a split of the Nexus or whatever. But I love
Yeah.
that theme.
Well, good job, man. I figured you'd get it, but I just throw you the bone to make sure.
Yeah, that last line did it for me. The other ones I wasn't so sure about.
All right,
All
Okay,
right,
so-
Ransom.
I gotta ask Tom, right?
You do. Hit me with it.
Tom, this is a WCW question.
I'll laugh if you have the
WCW.
same WCW one that I have, but go ahead.
Yikes. Well, mine involves the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
So, classic Ransom fashion, two-parter.
Woo!
Name for me, once WWE bought WCW
Okay.
and the Invasion story angle happened. Name for me the 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, my screen went blank. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people in WWE during that time held the WCW World Heavyweight title, not the WWE World Heavyweight title when it brought back. But during the Invasion storyline, tell me what people held that belt.
Okay, so you're saying during the Invasion storyline, you're saying not after it was brought back and awarded to Triple H, correct?
Correct.
So that's before then?
Yes, this was before it was unified as the undisputed, before Chris Jericho was the first ever undisputed champion. So before then, when WCW was bought by WWE.
Wait, I thought Chris Jericho being the undisputed champion happened before the Invasion.
No, that happened after.
How? Yeah, how? Because he was the undisputed champion because he united the world title and the WWE title.
Right.
Oh, I don't know why. Okay. Honestly, that whole Invasion story angle, that was what. Can you give me the year when that was? Because
Yep.
I honestly probably wasn't watching then.
2001.
Yeah, I definitely. I'll be honest, I don't remember, and I'm not gonna waste your time. I don't even want to hazard a guess.
I really wanted this to go to Beef.
Sorry.
I have two. Are you including Chris Jericho in that? You're not, right?
Well, did he win that title? I don't know.
He did. So then I have three. Booker T held it initially because I think the title match on Raw, like when Nitro took over Raw, was Booker T versus Buff Bagwell, and that's when the whole Judy Bagwell thing went down. And then Booker T lost it to The Rock as part of their big feud. And then The Rock lost it to Chris Jericho on the way to him being undisputed champion. I am struggling to think of who the fourth person was, unless you are counting Triple H.
Wasn't this
whenever he
Tom's
won it from
question?
Jericho at Mania. He was, yeah, but he tapped out. Unless you're counting Triple H whenever he beat Jericho at WrestleMania 18 for it.
No.
So that's all that I can consider. But that's what I'll say. Just keep moving things moving along. Booker T, The Rock, Jericho, and then Triple H.
No. It was Booker T, The Rock, Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle.
Ah. Okay. So that's 3 weeks in a row where I've just pretty much been like, nope, next.
So, second part.
Okay.
When it was still WCW,
Yeah.
before they were bought out by WWE, name for me the last 5 WCW champions. Doesn't have to be in any particular order. I just need the last 5 people that held that belt.
Booker T was definitely one because he was the last person. Because he won it the last night, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, okay, the last 5 people that held that title. I'm gonna say Booker T. Who the hell did he face? God damn it. Booker T, Sting. I want to say Flair. I want to say Hogan, and I don't know who else. But I'm just going to say Nash. Fuck it.
Can I take a shot, Ransom? Because I think I have at least 3. Booker, because him and Benoit wrestled for, and I think Benoit lost it to Booker T that night. So Booker and Benoit are 2. I think Benoit beat Bret Hart for it. I'm not sure about that, but I know Bret Hart is up there. I get the feeling that Goldberg is probably in there, and I'm with Tom. You know what? I think Big Papa Pump had it for a hot minute too. So I'll go Goldberg, Big Papa Pump, Bret Hart, Benoit, and Booker T.
Real quick though, Beef. I don't think Booker wrestled Benoit that last night. I thought he wrestled Sting.
No, Flair wrestled Sting.
Benoit was already in WWE.
Fuck, you're right. Yep, sure was. Never mind. Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
Done by me.
Put you hazard in the guess or no?
Nope.
Okay. Give it to us, Ransom.
So the last 5 people to hold the title in no particular order: Booker T, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo.
Ew.
I forgot about Vince Russo.
All right. Well,
yeah, how disappointing.
Hey, in the vein of WCW questions, Poot, I know how much of a big WCW guy you are, so I want you to tell me. I want you to give me the year of the first Halloween Havoc and give me the main event from that match.
I'm not even gonna try. I'll say 96 Hogan Sting. I don't know.
Anybody else? And no nerd flexing beef, just for time's sake.
It was 80 something. I'll say 80. Fuck, when was Starrcade?
You got 10 seconds.
I'll say 88. And I think the main event was
All right, I need an answer or we got to move on.
Vader and Mick Foley. That's not right, but
Ransom?
Nope, no idea.
All right, it was, and this is still whenever it was NWA/WCW. It was in 1989, and the main event, you ready for this one? Ric Flair and Sting versus the Great Muta and Terry Funk in a Thunderdome match, which the Thunderdome matches were kind of actually what the Hell in a Cell matches were way back when, before they were actually called Hell in a Cell matches.
Wait, hold on. Let me look in the dictionary here. Looking for the definition of overbooked.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, there it is.
There we go. Okay. It was Ric Flair and Sting versus the Great Muta and Terry Funk in the Thunderdome match. There's also a special guest referee. Can anybody guess that special guest referee?
Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Kevin Sullivan.
Nope. It was Bruno Sammartino.
Wait, hold on. Also see super overbooked.
Yep.
I think, and just a little bit of a slide, because I could have watched this a couple years back. I think they turned this match into like an 8-man tag match a couple years later, where they had to put somebody in an electric chair and actually like turn the electric chair on,
Yep,
like in the middle of this
they
big cage, and that was Abby.
Yeah, they put Abby in there and they turned it on and like it flipped down and nothing happened, so they went back over, flipped it up, and then they flipped it again. Because it wasn't actually connected.
The Thunderdome matches gave way to what eventually would be like the War Games cages and stuff like that, with the cage on top. So yeah,
all right,
little kind of precursor to Hell in a Cell. But go ahead.
Beef, mine is a softball. It is the softest of balls, so it's going to go.
Wow.
You heard that. Mm-hmm. Okay. We all know and love Marty Scurll, the villain himself. Marty Scurll, what is his shoot name? And where is he billed from? But where is he actually from?
Fuck. I don't know this. I have no fucking idea. It's probably Marty. It's probably Martin something. I'll say Martin.
If you could do his name, the other ones are extra. Give me his shoot name.
Martin Von Kemp. I don't know. Is he billed from like Leeds upon Tyne in England?
No.
And he's from London. I don't know.
No. His shoot name is Martin Scurll. It actually is Martin Scurll. Born July 26, 1988. So he's 31. What have I done with my sad life? And
I think the same thing.
And he is billed from Cambridge, but he was born in Littleport, Cambridgeshire, England. So there you go.
Huh.
There you go. There was mine. Nothing big and ridiculous. Not deep dives on WC fucking W. Just about one of the best characters and one of the best villains in the business, Marty Scurll.
When does he debut for AEW?
That's a
Full
good-looking
Gear?
question, huh? I don't know Full Gear. Maybe the one after that.
Is he definitely going there?
You would have to think.
Yeah, because his row contract is up.
You don't think he's staying there?
No, because Rowe made a big deal about Matt Taven signing his, because they were like, hey, we didn't lose one to WWE and AEW, we're keeping one. So I think if Marty Scurll had signed, they'd be touting that all over.
Oh my God, yeah.
Now, do you think WWE has made a play for him, just to keep him away from AEW?
For Marty Scurll,
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
They probably have, but man, Marty has to see the writing on the wall for that. Why wouldn't he want to go work for his buddies?
I think that they actually made a play for him before the Ring of Honor contract last year.
Yeah, it was before the Ring of contract and after the New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It was in that dead zone, and everyone thought, oh yeah, he's going to AEW, and he signed with Raw, and everyone was kind of like, oh.
Because everybody thought for sure that the Bucks and Kenny and Skrull were all going to NXT with the Hangman, and, well, Fate, it seemed, had other ideas, interestingly enough.
One more question about people going places. Is Punk going back to WWE?
There's been rumors that he was going to have some sort of like broadcasting job with Fox. But
somebody reported that he signed a contract with Fox to be on this After the Bell show. I think that Renee Young is hosting on FS1 as some sort of like an analyst. The idea there is that Punk will be working for Fox, not for WWE, but in time it would mend the fences and get him back as a at least a part-timer.
So you think that solidifies him not going to AEW then?
I mean, it's still all conjecture.
It is, yeah.
So I really don't I think unless they have a really big long play, I don't think Punk, because he said in tons of interviews, he's like, they have sent me text messages. Like they've like sent me texts that said, yo, hey, you want to talk about a contract? He's like, don't do that. Call me or come see me if you're really interested. Like he hasn't said no. He's just off put by the fact that it's like he wants that little bit of pomp and circumstance of like Cody showing up at his fucking door in a suit saying, can we talk? I mean,
they went to fucking JR's fucking house to recruit him. You can't fucking pick up a phone and call Phil Brooks. Like, in my mind, was the hottest free agent. Be like, hey man, you want to shove that knife between Vince's ribs? Get in on this. It was a fucking botch. Like, the whole fucking thing.
I watched the StarCast interview with Punk. It was really a good watch, by the way. You should watch it. Punk talks about, he's like, he's really mellow. He's even said, he's like, I'm mellowed out a lot. He's like, it was so much. It took so much of my emotional energy. It took so much of my happiness, and he's like, now I've just let it go. He's like, he doesn't seem to really resent WWE. He doesn't seem to resent any of that. He's just like, I'm happy. He's like, I'm happy doing what I do. I'm happy doing all the neat things I'm doing. And like, I'm interested to see him act. I kind of want to see that. Was it Girl on the Third Floor?
Yes.
I want to see that. I want to see how he does. Because I feel like Punk is either going to be a surprisingly great actor or it's Punk kind of trying to, okay.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. There's no gray area.
It can't be any worse than his UFC career. And I love CM Punk, but man.
He tried,
talk
man.
About...
He tried.
He tried his best, but man, it did not go well.
Yeah,
so we've all seen the interviews where Punk has said, they've sent me text messages and, like I would appreciate a phone call or something. If we've all seen those interviews, you would have to imagine the people in charge of AEW have seen those interviews as well. So if they really wanted him, I would imagine, like, once they saw that first interview where he came out and said, yeah, they sent me texts, but, I mean, can't you pick up the phone or something? If they were really interested, don't you think once they saw that interview, they would have been like, oh, we can land it. All we have to do is just give a little bit more.
Well, let me put a bow on this real quick. I think, honestly, maybe in time, maybe they don't have something where they feel like they can work him in right now creatively. And let's not also forget that they just brought back the former Jack Swagger, suffering succotash Jack Swagger.
Oh, dude, I'm thraled about that.
No,
I think that's a great return.
I wanted to throw a little. I always I hate to say it, but whenever it was like him and Cody in WWE, I was like, oh, it's Team Lisp, great. But I digress. No, it actually was really surprising. I don't know how I forgot and glossed over that from AEW. But that was another good point. That was a big surprise. So, maybe they just don't have a spot for him yet creatively, and they don't want to put him in
overshadow
limbo.
everybody else.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I read
that.
so when he came out and he did this, and the first interview was a very public forum in Sports Illustrated, and from what I understand, that read a lot that rubbed a lot of people in AEW the wrong way, that he would just out the dirty laundry like that as opposed to going to them personally, because that relationship too works two ways, as opposed to being pissy and going to a national sports publication and outing it there. Why not pick up the phone and say, hey man, if you want me, all you got to do is call me. So
well, we could sit there and debate that all day. It's one of those, well, you do it first. No, you do it first. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. It's whatever. But it will be interesting to see how it plays out. Who's closing us out tonight?
I think I will.
Go for it.
Have the champ do it. And yes, Tom, like you said in our chat, this time the champ's win was clean as a fucking whistle.
Hey, you know what? Kudos to you. I ate the shit bag on the Hell in the Cell picks. I was nowhere near close.
See, the thing is,
we were all so far off.
See, the thing is, Hell in a Cell is stupid, and so am I. That's why I won.
Hey,
anyway,
next month here, November is going to be a big full card with full gear. We got NXT and we have Survivor Series all in the 1 month. So get ready for it, champ.
Oh, fucking War Games. I forgot all about NXT War Games next month.
All right. So thank you all very much for listening to the P3 podcast. We appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you like, comment, and subscribe to the P3 podcast on YouTube. Check us out on Anchor, which means you can also check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you can get your normal podcasts. Make sure you listen to us. Make sure that you check out our Facebook page as well and give us your AMA questions. We're going to be doing that Saturday, hopefully live streaming an Ask Me Anything where we're just going to be us. We're not going to be Tiger Bomb Tom and Alec Ransom and Beef the Legend and Poot the Bard. We're going to be, us, and we're going to talk about the things we do in our lives, what we're interested in. If you have any kind of questions for us, please ask them. You can also email them to pittsburghpiledriverpodcast@gmail.com. So check us out there. So also send in your Stump the Chump questions. Maybe we'll do a Stump the Chumps as well. Also check out our sponsors, Casual Gaming Dad himself, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom. Over on Casual Gaming Dad on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as well. He streams really cool stuff. Are you still working on South Park, Tom?
No, I actually, after about 5.5 hours of gameplay last night, I finished up the Fractured But Whole, and actually, as soon as we sign off here, I am starting up Resident Evil 2 Remake on PS4. I can't fucking wait.
That's a good one. So go check him out. He streams. Give him his support, and also support Gould Gaming as well. Go check out Casual Gaming Dad's page on Gould Gaming. Pick up I have my Casual Gaming Dad NWO themed shirt. You should pick one of those up, and you can also pick up your very own Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast t-shirt on Tom's page as well. So please go support the podcast there. And also make sure, if you are in the central Pennsylvania area, get your tickets for Clearfield oh my gosh, I blanked.
IWC
Clearfield X. IWC Clearfield X. You can go to IWCWrestling.com. Check out Facebook.com/IWC Wrestling and get your tickets. They're going quickly, and it's going to be a hell of a show. Sean Tischler, thank you so much for having the P3 podcast be part of that. For Beef the Legend over there.
That was your
Silent is the grave.
Hey, yeah, but I'm just super excited for Saturday. Like we said, come up, talk to us.
And for Mr. Tiger,
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom.
Can't wait for Saturday. I'm looking forward to it, boys.
Yep, and my advocate, the best advocate, Mr. Alec Ransom.
Apparently, if you're going to shit on the podcast, Beef will shit on your back because that's the kind of guy he is.
Indeed.
You damn right.
And
damn right.
And you're still reigning, defending,
taking my thunder.
undisputed cruiserweight champion of the P3 podcast, Poot the Bard, baby. Have a good evening, day, night, whenever you're listening to this. Motherfuckers!
Or don't, who cares?